Hello everyone, I am back with this week's chapter of Battling Demons. This is chapter 7 by Anxious Astronaut 18. As always, leave fanfiction recommendations in the comments if you have anything you'd like me to read. And there will be themes of self-harm within the story. There will be a warning as it's happening, and these are the times when when it is happening, and there will be a warning on screen when it's happening. And the trigger warning from the author is themes of self-harm, anxiety, and depression are expressed within this story. Trigger warning. Please do not read if these themes upset you. Trigger warning. Now that the intro is done, I hope you guys enjoy. Jason's POV. The demigods were standing on a narrow stone walkway in the middle of the air. White marble steps wound up to the clouds in the sky where Mount Olympus stood. Palaces spotted the mountainside, and gardens surrounded the roads leading up to Olympus. Jason took it all in awe. He looked back toward the dryad who was greeting them. Thank you for your welcome. We have a group behind us, then we can and join the gods in the celebration, Jason informed. The dryad nodded and stepped closer to him. Excellent. The gods are anxious for your arrival. The dryad pulled him to the side. Although this is a celebration for your triumphs, the gods still believe it was their doing for the victory. A positive is that they take responsibility for the problems created, rather than accusing you. The downside is that they assign blame for the whole war to Apollo, even though it wasn't completely his fault. So he will be absent from the solstice. The gods are temperamental ever so th- and ever so. Tread carefully around them. Understood. I'm sorry to hear that Apollo will not be joining us this evening, but we can still handle the rest of the gods. We have discussed proper etiquette. As he spoke, the elevator doors opened again, revealing the other group of demigods. Perfect! Now we can be on our way. Louder to the rest of the group, she said, Heroes, follow me to the solstice. She began the trek to Olympus. The whole group looked towards Jason as he began walking. They surged forward. Piper caught up to him. What were you discussing with the dryad when we came up? She asked. About how we need to behave ourselves around the gods. No immature behavior, and how Apollo isn't going to be at the solstice, Jason said. You might want to warn Will so he's not shocked when he doesn't see his father. Also, what's going on with Will and Nico? She questioned. You mean you don't know? Know what? Being a daughter of Aphrodite and being observant shows me that something's going on between them. What happened? Jason looked around, but everyone else was trapped in their own conversations. Nico almost broke up with Will. Piper looked murderous. What did Will do? If he hurt Nico, I don't know all the details, but Will didn't do anything specific, Jason informed. Piper looked back at the estranged couple as if trying to decipher what was wrong. Well, I hope that they're able to work it out. They belong together. Are you talking about Will and Nico? Reina's voice cut in. Jason looked back at his friend. What happened? Because if Will hurt Nico, I will make sure his life is miserable. Jason sighed. They're fighting. I don't know the specifics. We only know that what Kayla told us, and she doesn't know that much either. But Will still wants to be with Nico, so we think it's something self-deprecating on Nico's part. Reina considered this. Most likely, Will has been very good to Nico, so I'd be sad to learn if they did break up. They arrived at the steps that led to an open courtyard outside the throne room. Percy stopped the group and began speaking. Demigods, let's make a good impression and have some fun, okay? Affirmations rippled throughout the group. He smiled and led the group to the throne room. Hera was standing at the entrance. The group kneeled. Percy was the first one to rise. Lady Hera? She smiled. Greetings, my heroes, and company. Welcome to the winter solstice. She spread her arms like a scene in a movie. The throne lit up. There were icicles hanging down from the ceiling with intricate designs etched into them. Confetti and light snow was drifting down from above. Sparkling lights appeared in the trees and wound around the columns. Huge tables of food and refreshments appeared out of nowhere in the courtyard and throne room. The 9 muses began playing music. Enjoy the music and refreshments. The Olympians will convene to meet and discuss recent events with you shortly, she stated, walking off to join her fellow Olympians. The demigods looked around excitedly and headed for the refreshments. Jason looked around and saw Nico standing off in a shadow to the side. Jason approached him. Hey. Nico looked up, surprised that someone was actually talking to him. Jason? Do you want to talk about it? No, No, believe it or not, I don't. Jason sighed. It would help if you did. It never has before. Why would it help now? Nico asked. That's not true. About how you've told me about how talking does help, Jason remembered. Okay, well, the whole opening up, yeah, not really my thing, Nico snapped, especially since you told Hazel about my problem. Jason panicked. How would he known? The answer came to him quickly. You were awake when we came into your cabin. You should be more careful about who is around when you talk about them, Nico said bitterly. It was an accident, but Hazel deserved to know about what you've been doing. Nico's eyes were blazing when he looked at Jason. The only person who has a right to know is me, and me alone. I can take care of myself. Obviously you can't, Jason dared to say. Nico's anger intensified, but Jason pressed on. Not if you're going to continue to cut yourself. We can take care of you. We can help you. We're here for you. Who's we? Who else have you told? I didn't tell anyone. We're here for you. But we are here for you. Percy, Kayla, Hazel, and Will. Jason realized too late his mistake. Yeah, you love interfering with me and Will, don't you? Nico spat. I heard you talking to Piper and Reyna, too, about our fight, when you don't even have all the information. Why don't you give it to me then? Jason suggested. Tell me what's going on. Nico laughed bitterly. Really, you're asking me to open up again, after you broke my trust twice today? Who knows what else you could have spilled? I haven't broken your trust, Nico, Jason defended. Hazel found out by accident. Reyna and Piper just want to help you as much as I do. We all care about you. People who care about you don't talk about you behind your back. Nico's eyes were filled with fire. We weren't, for Jupiter's sake, Nico. You can't blame us for being worried, Jason exclaimed. You're isolating yourself. You're hurting yourself. We want to help. I don't care. I don't want your help. Goodbye, Jason. Nico ended the conversation, walking away. Jason heaved out a big sigh as he looked around at the surrounding demigods. All of them carried so all of them carried so much pain and so many emotions. Why didn't they open up to each other more? He continued to survey the courtyard. At the steps of the throne room he noticed Hera approaching. Attention, heroes! The music stopped as the goddess spoke. The demigods turned to face her. The council is ready for you. Nico's POV. The other demigods moved towards the throne room as Hera beckoned for them to follow. He lagged towards the back of the group, trying to avoid being sucked into any conversations. Everyone was buzzing with excitement at the chance to see their parents. Nico could care less. He saw his father frequently, as he had gone on many errands for him. He noticed Will looking concernedly around. Nico searched for who was missing. A huge personality was absent from his seat on the council. Apollo. Zeus still blamed Apollo for the war. Will looked upset that his father wasn't here. The group stopped as they reached Zeus's throne. As one, the demigods knelt. Father, Jason acknowledged. Yes, yes. Welcome to Olympus, demigods. Please rise. One by one, all the members of Camp Half-Blood and Jupiter rose. The 12 Olympians have already discussed vital information regarding what happened with the giants, not too long ago, and who deserves the punishment for it and reward for it. Nico zoned out as Zeus expounded on the failures of certain gods, all directed at Apollo, and the achievement of Olympus as a whole, aka himself. He observed all the gods present. Zeus was going on about his speech and in his pinstripe suit and gray hair. Next to him, Poseidon was obviously not listening, messing around with his trident, looking at Percy. Next to Percy's dad was Hephaestus, tinkering with some metal contraption, hand lighting up every few seconds. Hermes was on the phone, appearing to be answering emails. Apollo's seat was noticeably empty. Dionysus appeared to be leaning on his hand, asleep. Ares was listening intently to Zeus about all of the destruction that he had caused. And at the end, Nico's own father sat. Hades nodded to Nico when he gained eye contact with his father. Nico nodded back. He looked towards the other side of the room. Hera looked lovingly at Zeus and at her 7 heroes. Nico guessed that she believed all the successes were due to her and her heroes, not anyone else. Demeter sat beside her, making a flower crown. Artemis was looking sadly at her brother's absent seat. Athena was one of the few paying attention to her father. Aphrodite was also staring right at Nico. He shifted uncomfortably and she started looking back and forth between him and Will. When Nico noticed what she was doing, she raised she raised her eyebrows like she was asking what gives. Nico disregarded that and was noticing and noticed a small girl tending to the hearth. The small girl he had seen at Camp Half-Blood, but it wasn't a girl at all. It was Hestia, the 12th Olympian. 11 out of the 12 Olympians all in the same place. So much power, so much history. He got chills just thinking about it. He looked back at Zeus, who was finishing his spiel. And that is why my dear wife Hera decided that it would be necessary to reward the brave souls who have helped us triumph. If the 7 from the prophecy and the 2 who transported the Parthenos would please step forward. Percy, Annabeth, Jason, Piper, Leo, Hazel, Frank, Reyna, and Nico all moved forwards. Heroes, you have shown great bravery throughout your trials and held your own against the giants. Once again, you have aided in saving Olympus and protecting the world. For this we recognize your valor and honor and would like to offer you gifts for your heroics. Jason Grace, please step forward. Jason stepped forward, kneeling before his father. Your reward has already been bestowed upon you by the Roman Senate. Zeus, changed into his Roman form, Jupiter. You will continue your duties as Pontifex Maximus and continue maintaining relations between Camp Jupiter and Camp Half-Blood. It has been and will continue to be my honor, father. Jason bowed his head and stood as Aphrodite spoke up. Piper McLean, my beautiful daughter. Piper stepped forward and knelt before her mother. Do you have any request for your reward? To always be in love? Not that you need any help with that, she giggled. Piper considered it for a few moments as she rose. I'd need nothing and require nothing, mother. Are you sure, my dear? Aphrodite asked. Piper laced her hands with Jason. I have everything I need. Piper and Jason moved back to stand with the other demigods. Annabeth was called forward next. Annabeth Chase, Athena said as Annabeth bowed her head. My daughter, you have continued to achieve excellence and shown effective leadership. For this you will continue your position as the head architect of Olympus, as well as give you the task of restoring the damages done to Camp Half-Blood and Jupiter in recent years. Annabeth looked stunned. Thank you, mother. Athena smiled coolly as Frank was called forward next. Frank Zhang, son of me, you were such a badass with all your military kicking butt skills. As a reward, you will continue to fulfill your duties as praetor along with Reina Ramirez Arellano. Ares flickered to his Mars form. You both will serve as ambassadors between Roman and Greek camps and gods. Both of you are offsprings of war gods and goddesses, which gives you the needed leadership in battle. This leadership is also necessary for deciding whether to go to war or to negotiate peace, which will help both camps, both Greek and Roman, flourish. Thank you for your continued service. Both Frank and Reyna bowed before the god of war. Hades cleared his throat, so Hazel and Nico stepped forward. They both knelt in front of their father. My children, Hazel and Nico, you have shown great bravery and valor, and because of this, I will extend Hazel's reward from the glacier on Alaska, allowing her to continue walking the world of the living. She will also serve as ambassador to the underworld, as spokesperson for the Romans. Nico will continue to serve as Ghost King. I would also like to appoint him as my second in command. Nico couldn't believe what he was hearing. Was his father kidding? He heard gasps from the surrounding campers and gods. Now wait a minute, Zeus thundered. Second in command? For a 12-year-old demigod? Anger shot through Nico. I'm not 12. His father interrupted him. A promise that I think was promised to Percy Jackson during the Great Prophecy when he was around the same age that Nico currently is. Just without the immortality, of course, because he can serve me after death, of course. Hades chuckled to himself. That's a huge responsibility, Zeus stated. A responsibility I'm sure he can handle, Hades pressed. But he isn't even one of the 7, Hera bemoaned. Nico glared at the goddess. And? Hades asked. He's been through more than most of your precious 7. He traveled through Tartarus alone. Gaia used him as a pawn. He's been through more, which makes him more of a liability, Zeus said, especially with his history of mental illness. Nico's insides turned cold. He knew that the gods did know everything, but was it necessary to point out his weakness in front of everyone? And what does that have to do with anything? Hazel squeaked, among almost as angry as Nico. Nico felt a panic attack coming. Hazel, stop, he said breathlessly. I am just saying, if he can't handle himself, how is he expected to handle souls passing through the underworld? Zeus ridiculed. Nico took deep breaths. He heard Will moving forward as if to steady him, but Nico steeled himself. He was not about to have a panic attack in front of the gods. That's not fair! Hazel spoke up. Athena spoke. Enough! Hades is right. He did survive Tartarus alone, a place where we gods will not even go to. He also transported the Parthenos halfway across the globe in a short amount of time. Without that statue, it would have been impossible to unite the two camps. Mr. D'Angelo was just as vital to our triumph as any of the seven. He deserves to be rewarded. Nico was surprised that Athena was defending him. And so what if he has a history of mental illness? That is none of our business. Rather business between him and his healer. Athena finished. Hades looked like he was in shock. He cleared his throat and looked back at Nico. Well, there you have it. Do you accept? Hazel nudged him, pushing him to make a decision. What exactly does that entail? What are my responsibilities? And Hades lazily shooed off his questions. We can discuss the specifics at a later time, and you can reach a decision at another time, in case you have anything you need to discuss with anyone. His eyes flickered over to Will before settling back on Nico. I'm honored, I truly am. Thank you, Father, for this opportunity. Let's move on, shall we? Hades said dismissively. Hazel and Nico rejoined the rest of the group. Second in command. Oh my gods, Nico, that's huge! Hazel whispered as Hephaestus beckoned Leo forward. Are you going to accept? I'm not sure yet. He looked around and found Will Solace's eyes on him. Their eyes locked, and he saw fear in Will's eyes. Will was afraid of losing him. He turned back to see Leo bowing towards his father. Leo Valdez, you sure defied the odds, my boy. Hephaestus grinned. Killing Gaia, dying, and coming back to life. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that one. Thanks. Hades grumbled. It's amazing. You were responsible for the death of Gaia. You deserve a hero's reward. Before I make an offer, do you have anything you would like to request? Leo's eyebrows furrowed as he thought. Actually, yes, there are a few things I want. Name it, boy. An apology. I beg your pardon? Hephaestus said. For... An apology from all the gods. Leo turned to look at the other gods. An apology to Calypso. The request rang in the silence of the throne room. Hermes broke it. Calypso? What about her? What about me? Calypso's voice was shrill as she attempted to keep her anger under control. She pushed through the group of demigods to face the gods. What about my eternal punishment on that island? Were you actually planning to leave me stranded forever? Isolated? Zeus looked stunned as at the former goddess's fiery attitude. If I had any sense, I would send you back on your island right now. Leo interlocked fingers with her. You wronged us. You supported your father. Eons ago! People, gods, goddesses make mistake. I was blinded and I supported my father because he was family. Can't you understand that? Calypso pleaded. No, I can't say I do, since I sliced my own father into 1,000 little pieces. You did not do that. However, you supported your father. Because he was family. At any rate, I should not be defined by my father's mistakes. You are defined by your own mistakes. This reminds me of my son, Apollo. He isn't defined by my mistakes, as I haven't made any, but his own reckless, foolish errors. That's why he's being punished. Artemis glared at her father as he made his declaration. Will looked ready to pounce on Zeus. I hate to break it to you, my lord, but you have made many errors. Will's accusation caused everyone to gasp. This was not going to end well. Errors that your son hasn't made. Will pointed to Jason as he spoke. Zeus was getting angry. Please enlighten me of what errors I have made. I have punished your father. There is nothing stopping me from punishing you as well." Will gulped. He was nervous, but Nico saw him steel as he spoke. "He befriended a son of Hades." He gained eye contact with Nico. "After you killed his mother." Zeus sat back, considering Will. Hades looked surprised at the mention of Nico's mother. Will continued. "And you killed her, trying to kill Nico and Bianca because you didn't want them to destroy your power. And just like your son didn't define your mistakes, Nico isn't defined by his father's own mistakes." Hades cursed the Oracle of Delphi, which may be why we aren't getting any prophecies anymore. Or maybe it's because you, he faced Zeus again, pointing at him, subjected my dad to punishment. Will he Will heaved as he got his emotions off his chest. The throne room was dead silent. No one dared speak. Zeus was visibly offended by what Will had said. Will shrank back into himself. Nico felt fear go through him. He needed to isolate himself, but he still loved Will. "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't disintegrate you right now, boy." Zeus's voice shook with anger. "But respectfully, sir, I'm right, and you know I am." Will was terrified, but he still tried to show his confidence. "Oh, I'm gonna regret this," Nico thought. "And we will all stand with and defend him," Nico said, moving in front to protect him. "Nico, what are you doing?" Will whispered. "Reversing roles. I'm protecting you for once," he muttered. The rest of the group moved forward in front of Will as well, pretty much making a human barrier around him. "Oh, look, the demigods teaming up against the gods. I could kill you all in a heartbeat," Zeus said passively. "Zeus, honey," Hera pleaded. "All right, fine, fine. I'll heed your wish and not destroy the boy, but next time know that I will not be as forgiving of your impertinence," he warned. He looked back at Leo. Valdez, your request is one we cannot fulfill. Your reward will be that I do not kill you or your friends for questioning me and my power. Calypso is a traitor, which is unforgivable. We cannot grant you this reward." "What about mine?" Percy piped up. "Excuse me?" Zeus was getting angry again. "What are you talking about?" "Perseus, now might be a really good time to stop talking," Poseidon warned. "My favor from the great prophecy, the oath you made that you never fulfilled?" Percy said. "What are you talking about, punk? You swore on the Styx that you would pardon Calypso, but you didn't, did you? You left her to rot on her island after swearing to pardon her, and all the gods and goddesses who sided on the side of the Titans in the first war, but who have repented. Sure, you never said when, but that is my favor now. I request that you pardon and apologize for your actions against her." "Jackson, you think you have the right, the authority to make that request of us?" Zeus asserted. "Yes, I do, because I went through Tartarus to close the doors of death. Without closing the doors, you would not have been successful in destroying Gaia and the giants. So yeah, I think I have the right to ask you to apologize and pardon someone who deserves it. I think that I have the right to ask you to fulfill an oath that you made many years ago. I think I have the right to ask after your wife stole 8 months of my life from me." Zeus opened and closed his mouth. He was speechless. After a few moments he spoke. "Fine, I will grant your wish, Jackson. Calypso, we ask for your forgiveness in our lapse in judgment and subjecting you to eons of isolation on Ogygia. Will you accept this apology?" It wasn't sincere at all, but Nico guessed that was as good as it was going to get. Calypso must have thought so too. "I accept your apology. Now you will be pardoned for your crimes, and I'm sure you've discovered you will now live a regular mortal life," Zeus mused. "So that is all your heroes rewarded, blah blah blah." Hera stood. "Heroes, thank you for your service to Olympus and assistance in saving it once again. I hope you all find these rewards to your satisfaction. Thank you for continuing to stand up for what you believe in and and always finding a way to do what's necessary, even if it isn't easy. Please enjoy the rest of the celebration." That was Bad League Demons, Chapter 7 by Anxious Astronaut 18. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share it with your Percy Jackson and Solangelo obsessed friends. Uh, Comment and subscribe because if you like this, you'll probably like my other content. And I will see you guys next week with Chapter 8. Bye!